Beneath the looming silhouette of Alamut, a new force began to stir, a movement that would defy empires, inspire legends, and carve out its place in history. Led by Hasan ibn al-Sabbah, the assassins emerged from the shadows as a small, devoted group whose influence would far outstrip their numbers. Their rise was not merely the story of a sect struggling for survival. It was a saga of bold strategy, covert operations, and a willingness to use unconventional methods to reshape the world around them. The story began in 1090, when Hasan, a brilliant scholar and religious leader, captured the Fortress of Alamut, a secluded and nearly impregnable stronghold nestled high in the mountains. This moment marked the beginning of a new phase in the struggle for Nizari Ismaili independence. Alamut was not just a sanctuary, it became a center of strategy and planning where Hasan would cultivate a new kind of resistance. It was here, behind the stone walls, that the legend of the assassins was born. Hasan recognized that to achieve his goals, he could not rely on traditional methods of warfare. The Nizaris were a small sect compared to the might of the Seljuk Empire, whose armies stretched across vast territories. Confronting the Seljuks directly on the battlefield would be futile. But what the Nizaris lacked in numbers, they made up for in ingenuity and devotion. Hasan saw an opportunity to exploit the vulnerabilities of his enemies in ways that had never been done before. The assassins, as they would come to be known, were not ordinary fighters. They were chosen for their courage, their skill, and their absolute loyalty to Hasan's cause. Trained to operate in secrecy and strike with precision, they specialized in the art of assassination, targeting specific individuals whose deaths could cause the maximum disruption to the enemy. This was not just a military strategy, it was a psychological campaign. The fear of an assassin's dagger was often as effective as the dagger itself. For Hasan, assassination was not a tool of terror, but a weapon of justice. He saw it as a means to achieve a higher moral purpose, the survival of the Nizari Ismaili faith and its people. His fida'i, or those who sacrifice, were more than mere killers. They were warriors of a spiritual jihad, fulfilling what they believed to be a divine mission. Their readiness to lay down their lives for the cause became the cornerstone of their training, and it set them apart from any other force of the time. The fida'i were carefully selected and rigorously trained, not only in physical combat, but also in the philosophy and tenets of Ismailism. They were immersed in the teachings of Hasan, which emphasized a deep commitment to the Nizari cause and an unwavering readiness to face death. The psychological conditioning was intense. Hasan instilled in his followers the belief that their sacrifices would grant them entry into a paradise reserved for the martyrs of the faith. This promise of eternal bliss provided a powerful motivation that no worldly reward could match. Stories spread of the elaborate methods used to deepen the devotion of the fida'i, drawing recruits into an almost otherworldly experience. Some accounts tell of recruits being guided into an artificial paradise within the walls of Alamut, a secluded garden crafted to resemble the divine paradise promised to the faithful. There, amidst lush landscapes and flowing streams, beautiful maidens adorned in flowing robes attended to them. These maidens offered the recruits not only comforts and luxuries, but also a powerful herbal elixir laced with hashish, a substance known to induce euphoria and heighten vision. As the hashish took effect, the recruits found themselves more vividly immersed in the paradise around them, with every sight, sound, and scent amplified to an almost mystical intensity. The maidens, with graceful movements and gentle smiles, guided the recruits through fragrant groves, serene waterfalls, and hidden alcoves, reinforcing the illusion of paradise. Conversations with the maidens took on a surreal quality, as they whispered promises of eternal bliss reserved for the loyal, ensuring the recruits believed they were experiencing a taste of the afterlife itself. In this state of bliss and heightened awareness, the recruits came to see the garden as a true vision of paradise, believing that their loyalty and sacrifices would secure a permanent place in such a divine realm. When they were brought back to the stark, rugged fortress of Alamut, the memory of paradise and its enchanting maidens stayed with them, instilling an unwavering dedication to the Nizari cause. Whether these tales were fact or legend, they became part of the mythos surrounding the assassins, enhancing their allure and spreading an aura of mystery and spiritual devotion. For the fida'i, the paradise of Alamut was not merely a reward, but a powerful sensory encounter with the promise of eternal bliss, a motivator that no worldly reward could match. The first major demonstration of the assassin's power came in 1092, with the assassination of Nizam al-Mulk, the powerful vizier of the Seljuk Empire. A statesman of great influence, Nizam al-Mulk was not only a close advisor to the Seljuk sultans, but also an implacable enemy of the Nizaris. His policies had sought to suppress the Ismailis, and his death was a significant blow to the Seljuk administration. The assassins struck him down with a single precise act, carried out by a fida'i who approached him in disguise and delivered a fatal blow. The assassination of Nizam al-Mulk sent shockwaves through the Seljuk court. It was a powerful message that even the highest ranks were not beyond the reach of Hasan's followers. The Seljuk leadership, which had previously seen the Nizaris as little more than a nuisance, now realized they were facing a serious threat. The elimination of such a key figure, without the use of armies or open warfare, marked a turning point. Not only in the conflict between the Nizaris and the Seljuks, but in the nature of political struggle itself. In the aftermath, fear began to permeate the Seljuk ranks. Who would be the next target? How many more fida'i were out there, disguised among the people, biding their time? This sense of uncertainty was a potent weapon in Hasan's arsenal. He knew that the mere idea of an assassin's strike could be as effective as the act itself. His strategy was to wield fear as a tool of warfare, to create a state of perpetual anxiety among his enemies. The fida'i became masters of disguise and deception. They infiltrated courts, military camps, and religious gatherings, often posing as scholars, merchants, or even pious devotees. Their missions were meticulously planned, with every detail considered. The timing of the strike, the means of escape, or the willingness to face death immediately after the act were all part of the plan. For the fida'i, the mission was not about returning alive. It was about fulfilling their duty to Hasan and the cause. As the reputation of the assassins grew, so did their network. Hasan sent emissaries to establish new strongholds across Persia and beyond. Fortresses like Masyaf in Syria became key centers of assassin activity, allowing the Nizaris to extend their reach across a broader geographic area. These fortresses were not just military outposts. They were also places where the fida'i could train, study, and prepare for future missions. Each stronghold operated with a degree of autonomy, but all remained loyal to the central leadership at Alamut. Hasan's approach to expanding his network was strategic. He selected locations that were difficult for the Seljuk forces to reach or besiege, using the natural terrain to his advantage. Mountainous regions and isolated valleys provided ideal settings for the assassin fortresses, allowing them to operate from a position of strength. The Seljuks, with their large but cumbersome armies, found it nearly impossible to penetrate these strongholds, and their attempts to do so often ended in failure. The psychological impact of the assassins' actions was profound. The Seljuk authorities found themselves increasingly on the defensive, with leaders constantly looking over their shoulders, fearing the next strike. The ripple effect extended beyond the empire. Stories of the mysterious and deadly sect reached distant lands, even as far as Europe. Rumors and legends began to grow, painting the assassins as an almost supernatural force, capable of toppling the mighty with a single blow. But the rise of the assassins also brought them formidable enemies. The Seljuk leadership, now fully aware of the threat posed by Hasan's followers, launched a series of military campaigns to destroy the Nizari strongholds. These efforts, however, were met with fierce resistance. The Nizaris were experts in defending their mountainous fortresses, using the terrain to their advantage, and employing guerrilla tactics that frustrated the Seljuk commanders. Despite the relentless pressure, Hasan and his followers remained resolute. For them, the struggle was not merely about survival, but about defending their way of life and their beliefs. The assassins continued to strike back with precision, eliminating key military and political figures, thereby disrupting the Seljuk war effort. It was a war of attrition where each side sought to wear down the other, but Hasan's use of targeted assassination gave the Nizaris an edge in this ongoing conflict. Yet this rise came with its challenges. The Nizaris were not universally supported even among other Ismailis, and their methods drew criticism from other Muslim groups who viewed assassination as dishonorable. The assassins' use of stealth and targeted killings was seen by some as a violation of the traditional rules of warfare. Nevertheless, Hasan's followers believed that their actions were justified by the higher cause they served, the defense of their faith against what they saw as existential threats. The assassins had now become a significant force on the world stage. Their tactics were feared, their strongholds well defended, and their mission unwavering. But the challenges they faced would only grow more daunting as new adversaries emerged and the political landscape shifted. The Seljuks were not the only power with an interest in curbing the influence of Hasan and his followers. A new wave of conflicts loomed on the horizon, conflicts that would test the resilience, adaptability, and resolve of the assassins as they strove to navigate the turbulent waters of history.